this is Keith. I'm back again with another news report about the sport of volleyball. Today it's going to be beach volleyball, and I'm here in the beautiful big old K-Smack Video Studios in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. And do you know something? It is mid-March 2015. I have not recorded a beach volleyball news report since November. That's a long time. And this is my very first announcement, news report, whatever you want to call it, for 2015. So it's going to be cool, it's going to be fun, and it's time to get back into it. You know what? February has really sucked here in southern Ontario. We've had more snow than normal. It's been colder than normal. I mean, you're not thinking beach volleyball or volleyball or nothing. All you're thinking about is staying home, staying warm. Yeah, temperatures are like minus 20 every day in February. I mean, how far away from beach volleyball can you be? I even contemplated running a snow volleyball tournament. Just, it's hard to organize and just never got around to it. But anyway, as of now, mid-March, it's warming up. I mean, temperatures are in the plus digits, +5. The snow is melting. It's still not beach weather by any means, but you get that feel spring is coming around pretty soon, about 6 weeks away, maybe less. But you know something? Speaking of 6 weeks away, that also marks the spot, the time, the dates when most of the beach volleyball leagues in Ontario are going to be starting. They start the first week of May, believe it or not. And some leagues don't, but a lot of leagues do. They take advantage of that extra time. Anyway, okay, let's bring up a graphic from the Weather Channel so you can check this out. This is not a forecast. What you're seeing is average temperatures for the month of May. So I wrote this down. Well, I didn't write it down. I took a graphic of it. And so check this out. The temperatures in May, start of May, range from 17 to 18 degrees on average. That's pretty warm. That's warm enough to be out playing beach volleyball. But keep in mind, these are the daytime highs, which happen noonish, afternoonish, that type of thing. So it cools down in the evening, especially after dark. And single digits are the lows. So yeah, you can be playing beach volleyball in 5-degree, 10-degree weather at night when most leagues take place. And if you're playing along Lake Ontario where there's a breeze and it's windy or it's raining, that can be pretty cold for the first couple weeks of May. But that's when we start beach volleyball here in southern Ontario, Canada. And if you want to play, there you go. But the weather could be a bit daunting at times, or challenging, that's for sure. Okay. Let me talk about beach volleyball tournaments for 2015. Right now, there's a bunch planned. The usual suspects are running the usual tournaments. You know what I'm talking about. There's a bunch of organizers out there who normally run tournaments. They run annual tournaments, and of course, they have them all pre-booked, pre-planned for the whole summer, and that's what's happening right now. So anyway, I can verify that I have 35 tournaments already listed. Oh, gotta check this out. Check this out. This is what I'm talking about. This is my beach volleyball calendar. This is where I keep track of all the beach volleyball tournaments in my area, or call it Southern Ontario. I used to do all of Ontario, but anyway, it's here, it's handwritten. I write down every weekend all summer, and then when someone announces a tournament, I fill it in, mark down what it is, where it is, who's running it, that kind of thing, and so the calendar fills up. So I have 35 beach volleyball tournaments already on the list. I'm trying to run a beach volleyball tournament series myself. I can't say I am yet, so that isn't on the list, and I don't have plans for that yet. I mean, as far as written in stone. So, whew, that could happen. And yes, that's what's happening with my beach volleyball calendar. And I do it because I want to keep track of who's running what tournaments, because when I plan a tournament, I don't want to run a co-ed twos tournament on the same day and same city as someone else who's running a co-ed twos tournament. So, you know, it's good to keep track of who's doing what so you can avoid it. So I pick an empty date or close to empty date so I can run a tournament and not conflict with other people. I wish more tournament organizers would do that, but some get cocky, put down their tournament. They don't care if they're conflicting with someone else or not. But anyway, that's the business, I guess. Okay, so there you have it. That's the tournament situation right now. Okay, let's talk about beach news. Well, as far as what I know about beach news here locally in southern Ontario, from what I've seen, read, heard, Twitter, Facebook, that kind of stuff, 2 volleyball leagues will no longer exist for 2015. 2 of them have folded. far as I can tell, those are the announcements I've seen, or just the lack of websites that are out there. You know, when you see someone who's got a website and it no longer exists, you go, maybe that they're not going to run that anymore. But anyway, on the good news, I heard one totally new volleyball league is starting up in Ontario this summer. So far, 2 folded, 1 new one. Well, but it's only mid-March, so who knows what could happen for the rest of the summer. 2 more months to make announcements and stuff, and anything could happen, and it usually does. Okay, Oh yeah, I already talked about tournaments, but from what I've seen, there are less tournaments this summer coming up than there were last summer. And I'm judging that by just the people who normally run tournaments because, you know, when some organization or group runs 5 tournaments a summer, this year they're running 4. So I've seen a bunch of people kind of running less tournaments than normal. And I guess that's the sign of the times, right? Less tournaments, you know, they want to be running successful tournaments and not half-assed tournaments. So less is better if you can fill them up. So that's what's happening with the tournament situation. Oh yes, and by the way, I have 14 tournament organizers on my list that who normally run tournaments that have not announced anything yet. So that means there's a lot more tournaments to come. They just haven't been announced yet. You know, I mean, the thing is, like me, I'm a tournament organizer, but I don't have my own beach facility, which means I have to go out and book it. So until a month from now, 2 months from now, I'm not able to actually book anything. So you got to wait. And, you know, it's great to have your own facility. You can pick your dates a year in advance and put your tournament into the stone works or whatever, written in stone, and then, but not me, I have to wait. And so a lot of other people are in the same boat. They book their tournaments in the next month or two. So a lot more news about beach volleyball tournaments here in Ontario coming. Yeah, a lot of people just haven't announced their events yet. So we'll wait on that one, okay? Oh yes, I want to make one observation right now. Do you know something? Last year, the summer of 2014, was probably the worst summer for beach volleyball tournaments in 15 years. Probably since beach volleyball actually started to get popular. It's been growing and growing and growing, and lately, well, that means it's kind of flunking out. So I found last summer a lot of tournaments got canceled. You know, people try to run them and just no success. Teams aren't entering. And so what happens is, of course, is this year, people are running less. But then last year, there's a lot of cancellations because people aren't playing as much as they used to. Now, what's the number one excuse? Well, my number one excuse was a year ago, if you remember, the spring here was cold. It was wet. It was rainy. The winter lasted much longer than expected. And I think it just put a whole damper on the summer. People just didn't play the spring tournaments and it went into summer and people just kind of said, bad summer for beach volleyball. I'm going to go to weddings. I'm going to play softball. I'm just going to go to a movie. Who knows what? But they just didn't play beach volleyball. And that's the number one excuse. It started off as a bad spring and it just kept going where people just didn't have the spirit, the passion for beach volleyball like normal. Okay, my second reason the summer of 2014 was a bad summer for beach volleyball tournaments was simply because there were too many. There's so many people trying to run beach tournaments that it actually just spreads people around. It spreads everyone out. It's so thin that, you know, when an organizer can normally get 15 teams to a tournament, they're getting 5. And 3 because there's just so many tournaments to play in. And because of that, it hurts the sport. You know, everyone's trying to get their hand in the cookie jar, as they say, you know, get a piece of the pie, get some money into their pockets. They think they're going to make a killing simply because they're running a beach tournament. And there's just too many. There's 1, there's 5, there's 6, there's 10 tournaments, you know, all over the place every weekend, and you just can't compete. I mean, and it hurts everyone. So it takes a few years. People that try to run tournaments end up not running any. They just give up on it. And then the people who keep running them year after year get back to the higher numbers. So anyway, that was it. And of course, the third reason is price. I mean, let's face it. Every organizer out there wants to make more and more and more money. And it's not just the organizer. I say organizer. What I mean is facilities. The facilities who build beach volleyball courts want to make more money because they're spending a lot of money to build these courts, tens of thousands of dollars. So they go, we need to make that money back, and we've only got basically 3 months to do it. So they want to charge more and more and more money. And eventually it hits the point where people don't play in the tournaments anymore because it's too expensive. Because with beach volleyball, it's compacted into basically June, July, and August, so to speak. And then you can't just play a tournament every weekend and spend a couple of $100 every weekend traveling and playing in these tournaments. So people just go, well, we're going to play 2 or 3 maybe, and that's it. We can't play every weekend. We can't afford to play all these tournaments all the time. So anyway, that's a factor too. So the price, you know, there's just so many tournaments, and of course the late spring. Those are all factors in why 2014 kind of sucked for beach volleyball tournaments. It really did. The leagues are doing pretty good. It seems the leagues are getting more popular, but tournaments seem to be on the way out, which is too bad because I run tournaments, of course. All right, that's my talk for the first time in 2015. I'm doing doing a news report about beach volleyball, talking about my plans and other people's plans for the summer, the spring, the summer, you know what's going on. Anyway, that's all I can tell you now, but I'll have a lot more reports as the weather warms up and I warm up and we get recording more videos about news reports about beach volleyball. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Okay, that's it, that's all. I'm here in Southern Ontario in the not so cold day of +5 degrees. And I'll be back soon with more news about volleyball because I have a lot more news about beach volleyball and stuff. Okay, that's it for now. That's my first attempt for 2015. I hope it worked out. I hope this didn't turn gray or black or another color. No, it didn't. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. Okay, that's it. That's all. Bye for now. I'll be back soon with another news report about the sport of beach volleyball from the K-Smack Video Studios here in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada.